Coming up on the show where you write the script, I try my hand at competitive rowing. I visit a swimming pool at the heart of one of Britain's most scandalous political stories and discover the inspiration behind The Wind in the Willows. The Thames, a river of amazing beauty, history and sheer wonder. Many a great journey has been made along the river, but perhaps the most celebrated is the Jerome K. Jerome story, Three Men in a Boat. The story tells of the exploits of three Victorian gentlemen as they drift upstream and down. Published in 1889, the book was intended to be a serious travel guide based on an actual journey taken by the author and two friends on the river. It turned out to be a highly comical book. The reviews were initially poor, but the book sold in huge numbers and is still selling today.
The three men were aboard a skiff, a vessel not much more than twice the size of that, and which frankly doesn't take that much skill to row. But what does take skill is this.
Emily Manton talks about the delights of watching racing on the river, in particular the Summer 8s rowing competition, which takes place in Oxford during the month of May. And there's no reason why you can't have a go at competitive rowing for yourself. Most clubs offer an introductory course, and I've come along to the Upper Thames Rowing Club to have a go for myself. My coach for the day is Daniel Sadler. First up is the rowing machine. Then we headed for the water.
Rowing, or sculling, which is what I'm technically doing because I've got two oars, has been described as picking up a 40-pound sack of potatoes 36 times a minute for 7 minutes.
And finally, sculling as a fall.
Old dog, new trick. It's fantastic, it's really energising. You must try it. I think you're really quite good, guys. Thanks a million.
After all that exhilaration, I'm glad to spend some time taking in a slice of history. Alison Hazelle talks about having a brilliant day out in the grounds of Cliveden House, built originally in 1666 as a hunting lodge and with gardens that run down to the Thames. The house is now a luxury hotel and it's steeped in history. Guests have included Queen Victoria, Charlie Chaplin and Winston Churchill, but not all at the same time. In the 1960s, the highest profile guests were Christine Keeler and John Profumo. In 1961, the then owner of Cliveden, Lord Astor, invited the Secretary of State for War, John Profumo, to come and stay at Cliveden for the weekend. In another part of the estate, 19-year-old Christine Keeler was the guest of the Society osteopath Stephen Ward. Other guests included Captain Yevgeny Ivanov, an assistant naval attaché who was also a Soviet spy.
Ward and his guests were making the most of the sunny weather by swimming in this very attractive pool. Drawn by the noise, Astor and his party came down to the pool to see what was going on. That was when Profumo first met Keeler and the notorious affair began. Keeler eventually sold her story to the press, revealing that she'd been sleeping with the Soviet spy Ivanov as well as the British War Minister. Oops. Profumo initially denied the affair in the House of Commons. His political career was soon over.
To make a splash in this historic pool, you'll first need to check into the hotel. But the rest of the grounds here at Cliveden are National Trust, open to everyone and well worth a visit. Our next hidden gem comes from an actor who himself has filmed at Cliveden. Though his screen role had nothing to do with the Profumo affair, he was in fact playing the Belgian detective Poirot, and he is, of course, David Suchet, who happens to be the chairman of the River Thames Alliance.
Over the years, David Suchet has grown to love the Thames, and one of his favourite activities on the river is bird watching.
We thought we'd do our own exploration of the bird and wildlife of the Thames by taking the official wildlife cruise with the local expert Phil Farrer, who takes regular public cruises.
Oh, yes, Egyptian goose there. No, sorry, it's a great crested green between the two trees. Oh, yes, here we have a red kite.
Oh.
A red kite is a bird of prey, but it very rarely kills things. It much prefers its food dead. In fact, its favourite food is roadkill.
I can now see why the author Kenneth Grahame used the wildlife of the Thames as an inspiration for The Wind in the Willows. And if you're into that great book, why not visit the River and Rowing Museum to take a look at their interactive Wind in the Willows exhibition.
We've explored all sorts of ways of using this fantastic river, but I have to say, I think this is my favourite, sipping a cup of tea aboard the hotel boat Bag Lady.
Roy and Sue offer a unique boat service that will take you wherever you want to go. They started the business 2 years ago when Roy gave up his job as a contractor.
Sonning Bridge, which means that Sonning is just over there. It's the most fairy-like nook on the whole river. Don't take my word for it, Jerome K. Jerome said that. Anyway, that also means Oxfordshire is on my left, Berkshire is on my right, and Wiltshire is behind me. And I mention that because Clare Martin from Wiltshire suggested I idle a few hours away on the river. Thank you, Clare.
I loved the spirit of the hotel boat Bag Lady, the idea that you can jump on a boat and just let the river carry you along. Keep sending us your hidden gems by clicking on the forum and photos section of the Enjoy England website. And if you'd like to know more about the Thames, try visitthames.co.uk.